So some people have been asking how I was getting on with my pregnancy, so I thought we'd do another video, just a quick one. I had planned on doing a video every once a week and sharing how I was getting on, what I was eating, and everything that we were doing and things I was learning. But after the last video I made, I posted it on Facebook, and then I got lots of emails from well-meaning, caring friends, sharing with me their negative or traumatic or their birthing experiences, which they said, if I hadn't been in a hospital, you know, this might have happened to my baby, or it was lucky that I was in a hospital because this and this happened. And it's that they're projecting their fears from their reality, their beliefs, their own awareness or lack of awareness of other realities. And basically, it wasn't just a few emails I received, it was a lot of emails, all with traumatic birthing stories, and I actually find it really difficult to cope with that. And I remember Matthew and I were going to the market, and I broke down in tears. It was really, really difficult for me, and I actually couldn't go and help Matthew with the shopping that day. It was just too much. But later on in the evening, we sat down, and I was able to, we talked it through, and we did some EFT. Mm-hmm. We did some EFT, and we tapped on any fears, and it's actually really, really brilliant to neutralise you when during pregnancy. EFT can be really helpful.
Powerful.
So we did some EFT, and I realised that I've never had a baby before. I don't know if how easy it's going to be, because I know that we can't know until the actual event happens. But what I am doing is educating myself as much as possible. I'm planning, I'm learning as much as I can. I'm learning about conscious birth, where you actively, every thought that you think, everything that you eat, everything that you do, even when you're pregnant and also during the labour, affects the baby. And I'm even with the EFT, we did EFT not just once, but we've done it a few times to try and neutralise anything at all, any energies which could cause me to have problems during the labour. So that's one thing that I wanted to share.
And even if consciously, Victoria's saying, I don't know how to, I've never given birth, I don't know how, etc. Even if consciously she thinks that, unconsciously she actually does know exactly how to give birth, because her mother gave birth to her naturally, and right?
And it's in your limbic imprint.
Yeah, and so then that memory, that pattern is in her limbic imprint in the brain. So that unconscious memory, that print, has been passed on. That blueprint of exactly how to do it has been passed on from Victoria's mother to Victoria. And this is one of the biggest problems in the world today is C-section births, because it's not passed on. So there's all these people growing up now, and in some countries it's 90% C-section rate. In some countries, 90% C-section rate. Insane. And obviously, in a very small percentage, it's a lifesaver. That's a very small percentage. It's a lifesaver.
Yes, C-sections, in certain cases are needed and necessary, and they help save lives of baby and the mother. And I'm not against C-sections. We think they're great, but when they're needed, and it shouldn't be a norm, because birthing naturally, there's so many benefits to it. It can really help the child, not just during the birth, but in all stages in their life. The children are walking around, people are walking around with birth traumas, and they don't even realise that it's there. But
yeah, so there's all these kids growing up, all these women that growing up these days that don't know how to give birth. It's not in their limbic imprint because they were C-section birth. So it's actually becoming more difficult for this next generation to give birth naturally, because they don't have the blueprint of how to do it, because they weren't given birth to naturally. And unless this changes, this is going to get worse and worse and worse, and it's going to cause a whole host of problems further down the line as we move into this next century now.
Yeah, and if anybody would like more information on that and on how limbic imprinting works, it's Elena Tanetti Vladimirova, and her website I think is birthingtobeing.com, or maybe that's just for the DVD. But if you go to that website, I think there's links to her other website as well, which has all the information on conscious birthing and how our birth does affect our life after that, and we can change. If we have had a traumatic birth experience, there are things that we can do, but it's very, very difficult, and it's much better if we can, as parents, consciously do the best we can to give our child a good birth.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing I wanted to cover. Another one was, a lot of you who follow our channel, you know Matthew and I are strict vegans. And when my sister went to the hospital, she was vegetarian, and she told the doctors that she was vegetarian. They gave her such a hard time. I remember I accompanied her once, and the nurse, she basically said that...
they cornered her.
Yeah, they cornered her and they lectured her and said, do you know what you're doing to your baby? And you know the risks that you're taking and how bad this is, and what you could, they made her feel, they're trying to make her feel guilty for her decision, when actually I've never felt healthier in my life than I do now I'm a vegan. And I have been getting, even though I'm not going to the doctors and I'm not giving them my power, I went down to the pharmacy was it last week?
Mm-hmm.
And I got my hemoglobin checked, which is to make sure that I'm not anemic. And I actually had higher than normal hemoglobin, which is brilliant. So there's no lack. I'm not lacking in anything, and I'm feeling full of energy. I also got my blood pressure checked, and that was in the normal.
Perfect.
Yeah, it was perfect. So I mean, I'm feeling very healthy. I am looking after myself. I am getting checked up. I'm checking my weight, doing all the checks that you can do, checking my belly size. I'm huge.
And you're 21 weeks at the minute?
I'm 22 weeks pregnant.
22 weeks, maybe twins, so they can...
Yeah, I am huge. But one thing, when I got weighed, I'm currently 10 stone, which is still a stone less than I was at the beginning of the juice feast. So even though I've got this huge belly and huge chest, I'm still way a lot less than I did.
Because there's a lot of people that said, after the juice feast, you're just going to put all that weight back on. That's what a lot of people said. And 6 months after the juice feast, or more than 6 months after the juice feast, 7.5 maybe.
I'm 22 weeks pregnant.
And 22 weeks pregnant, you're still, I think, at least 10 pounds less.
Yeah,
at least 10 pounds less than what she was before the juice feast. So that didn't happen. So people were incorrect.
Yeah. So anything else? So I've been reading some really interesting books on pregnancy and how
So have I.
Yeah, and how they pay attention for you, whether you decide to have your birth in a hospital or at home or anywhere. Our thoughts surrounding our pregnancy can really significantly affect how simple or how easy our pregnancy goes. So I've been reading a lot about that and focusing on the mind and just making sure that I have really good positive thoughts towards birth, and so we'll maybe share a bit more about that in a future video. So if you have any questions, post them below, and thanks for watching.
My name is Matthew Armstrong.
And I'm Victoria White.
Tune in next time.